Now for your eNCA Money Desk, and the eNCA, we've got Rofua Matena rather standing by. Rofua, you are looking at the economic cost of what we're looking at as Channel today, which is the construction mafia. That's right, Masako. So major building projects across the country are increasingly being stormed by groups demanding cash for construction work to continue. The economic impact is running into the billions. But is organised business receiving the support it needs to counter the scourge? Tebelo Luthuli is the MD for Business Against Crime South Africa, and she joins us to answer that question and more. Very good afternoon to you, Tebelo, and thank you for talking to us this afternoon. So the targeting of corporate business expansions and malls have seen a significant rise in recent years. What do your members report to as the modus operandi of these groups on site?
Good afternoon, Rofua, and thank you for having me. So the modus operandi is obviously, as and when a project starts, then the construction sites will be stormed by individuals in the community who then expect this 30% share in the project. And what we have seen through Business Against Crime and our involvement to try and alleviate the scourge of business mafia incidents and the effect on our members is it works better if there is collaboration between the business that is starting up the construction and the local metro police or the SAPS. So with project preparation and before construction takes place, to notify the local police that there will be a project that is about to start to take place, that there is a need for visibility of the police and boots on site. And we find also that construction companies which have personal security members that are part of our Eyes and Ears project also have an easier time of it, because that project we've got direct contact to the police, which makes reporting of incidents easier, as well as improved response times to these incidents as and when they occur.
Now, I do understand that there's a committee that's dealing with the extortion, which is made up of police, business leadership, like you've just talked about the police, and of course, the violence at the economic sites. Has there been any success from that initiative, from what you've seen, and perhaps the report back you're getting from your members?
So that has actually been quite successful. Before we got involved, the number of cases that were being reported or being understood to be extortion cases were relatively low. There's been a significant jump since that initiative that we collaborate with the police in, with the number of cases reported and in the way that those cases are written by the police as extortion and not intimidation, because then that also counts to the priority that is given to the cases. So from our perspective, there's obviously still a lot to be done. It is still quite a scourge, but we have seen incremental improvements since that forum started off and the priority committee got involved. And there've also been an increase in the number of arrests, but what we now need to see happen is an increase in the prosecutions that take place as well. So, you know, to follow through completely throughout the entire chain, where a person is arrested and prosecuted and put in jail for the crime. Right now, we've seen an uptick in the arrests, and we need to see a corollary increase in the prosecutions that are taking place.
No, absolutely. I mean, in the meantime, are you able, as a Business Against Crime, to quantify what's been lost in terms of the rands and cents on an annual basis, perhaps a broad figure, just to give us a sense of how the bottom line of the country's economy, or one of the most important sectors within the country's economy, is being impacted by this kind of crime?
So we don't get direct figures from our members, but I do agree with what we have seen from Minister Zikalala that, you know, when he announced this national forum that will now be targeting construction mafia as a priority crime. He has said that there's about billions that have been lost to the economy due to this sort of activity taking place. And we do agree, based from what we've experienced as well, that the number is in the billions, which is significant.
It is significant indeed. So we have been running a stat which says very little has been done in regards to the successful prosecutions. As you've just mentioned, we are seeing an increase in arrests, but the successful prosecutions are not happening as they should. Are you hoping that there will be some form of change, or are the backlogs within the policing and legal system just too much, and we might not actually see any movement in the medium term when it comes to bringing these extortionists to book?
We are hoping that there will be a change, and again, through collaboration with business against crime, the SAPS and the NPA, where the prosecutions take place. We do believe that through adequate training and case management procedures, that will start seeing significant improvement in the prosecutions that take place. It's all about how you put together a rock solid case and taking that case through to the court system. So we can't throw our hands up and give up because we say the backlogs are too much. I think it all takes each one of us as civil society doing what we can to assist where we can, and certainly as Business Against Crime, with our partnership with both the SAPS and the NPA, we strive to do exactly that. So I remain hopeful.
Yeah, and it's important to remain hopeful and to keep those partnerships going, because one can only imagine the jobs and the communities that are impacted by this directly. So it's not just a broad economic story. There are jobs and there are communities that benefit from the different projects. And of course, these would be impacted as well. Have you had your members report on having to cut back on employment, or having to cut back on uplifting communities in which these projects are initiated?
So it hasn't been about cutting back on projects or employment per se. Let me say that. It's just obviously from an investment perspective, where people are thinking of starting projects and or experiencing this sort of thing and then pulling out, it will then have an impact on job creation and the upliftment on the community. And where there could have been that investment in that particular area or community leading to job opportunities and growth, that obviously doesn't take place anymore, because now the businesses have to think twice, three times and think maybe actually not, and decide to invest elsewhere where incidents like these take place. And obviously also the cost of additional security to prevent construction mafia incidents taking place is actually quite high too. So it's all these factors that fall into their thinking arrangement as to whether to continue with a project or not. But it does hit on investment quite significantly.
Oh, thank you so much for those insights, and one can only hope that law enforcement authorities, alongside yourselves and other important stakeholders, will be able to change the tide when it comes to this particular scourge. That is Tebelo Luthuli, who is the MD of Business Against Crime South Africa, giving us some insights into the construction mafia and how it impacts on the economy.